2021. They were in our packages. Were there any changes, comments? You might want to change your agenda that we received that night because it does say 2020, if you're keeping your records straight. But no, that's, that was, but are there any changes, comments?
Make a motion to approve.
I second it.
All those, well, we have, Danielle, we have to do roll call votes on Zoom. So I'll go around
Sorry,
and
I
ask.
think we have to do an initial roll call too. I'm sorry, I forgot about that.
All right. I've already got it down, present by roll call. Yes, 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 yes.
Okay,
Okay,
all right.
Well, I don't know if I can really do that, but
so, well, let's go through the process at least at this point, and I'll call the roll call.
okay.
As far as Danielle, oh, no, I'm sorry, Danielle, you were not at the meeting, so you cannot approve the minutes. So we'll start with Carol Cahill,
I approve. Yes.
Janet,
Yes.
Jack Ward,
Yes.
Ken Zeb,
Yes.
and myself, yes. So the minutes of the March 17th meeting are approved. Our next meeting will be on May 19th, Wednesday at 6 p.m. And we can hope that we are able to have it in the library, but we'll wait and see what the town directs at this particular time. So now we're going to move on to welcome our new trustee, Danielle Biggins, who was elected unanimously by the people who wrote her in at the town election. Danielle, as the vice chair, I just want to welcome you to a really active board. People who have served numerous years. They have much more seniority than I do, all of them. They also have been trustees in previous years and came back to work with the current board. So it's been a really value-added group of people as far as working on behalf of the library, and particularly during this last year when it was quite the unusual circumstances with the virus coming in and impacting the closure of the library and the whole town, with the retirement of the director, Beverly Brown, moving on after so many years of service to the town, Liz coming in and having to pick up and deal with a very unusual library operation, having had it closed. And so it's been, from my point of view, it's been an amazing year, actually, a very interesting year on how libraries have really risen to the top in services to the towns that they serve. And certainly within Rockland, the online services, the story hours have been very appreciated. But then also, as I can see behind Carol Cahill, somebody has been picking up our little to-go kits to make for the variety of programs during the year. And that's been very appreciated, but also just the general pickup of library materials that we've been able to do. I know myself, I've really appreciated that. But the, libraries in, I think, the whole state, and Rockland among them, have really done a great service to their residents during a very difficult time when a lot of other places weren't able to do much. So it's been wonderful that we have the resource sharing that we have within the whole state, and that our network membership provides us with so much, but that the staff also was able to turn around and really provide great services and continue to work in a situation that was difficult, that they were just kind of learning about themselves. And going forward and opening, I mean, there's still many libraries that are not open yet. And at least Liz has been able to, with her staff, open a few days a week, provide services, have people come in, isolated area, but still they can come in, they can browse, and they can get back to that old feeling of browsing in a building. So welcome to a great board. I'm sure if you have any questions, you have people that have far more experience at the Rockland Library than I do, but I'm sure everyone can assist and answer any of your questions. So really welcome, and we're really happy to have you here this evening.
Thank you so much. I'm so happy to be part of the group. And when Janet reached out, I thought about it a little bit and I was like, geez, what better way for me to get involved? You know, my background is in early childhood education, and some of the things that you mentioned are some of the same things that we did at our preschool, read alouds, and creating activity kits for kids, and still finding ways to be connected to the community, which sounds like I know that the library has done, and that's so important to me too. So I'm really happy to be part of the committee. Thank you.
Well, I would like if the trustees could give them a brief, bio of themselves for Danielle. I know she knows some of you, but kind of just your relationship with the library. So if we could start with Janet. Janet, you just want to,
Okay. Retired teacher counselor from the school system. Lived in Rockland 40 years. Here's Donald. And he looks like a bum right now. And I'm on several boards, the Rockland Education Foundation. I'm active in my church, trying to keep us open. And it's the First Congregational Church. And Holiday Magic and some other things. Anyway, I keep busy. Been retired for 12 years, but it doesn't seem like it. Anyway, 2 kids grown. Okay.
Carol Cahill.
Yes, I teach at Rockland High School, but I'm on a leave of absence this year because I have a brother with special needs who also has severe lung disease who I'm guardian to and lives with me. So I took a leave of absence this year out of an abundance of caution to keep him healthy. And so far, knock on wood, that has been good. So it's been a very interesting year for me, and I have used the library services more than ever this year, just as a patron, and happy to be back on the board. And that's
Great.
that.
Thank you. Jack.
Well, it was a tough campaign. It was brutal in many ways. I know, Carol, you had the same experience in the rough and tumble town of Rockland. But we prevailed.
I joke every year that I'm going to rent, that one billboard across from the old Bolodrome? I always used to kid Kathy Looney, I'm going to rent that billboard and put a big vote for Carol Cahill sign.
But I'm also retired. I formerly worked at the world headquarters of South Coastal Bank in downtown Rockland many years ago. And along the way, I've been in various boards and committees in the town. I started with the Finance Committee, ended up on the Board of Selectmen. I was with the Chamber of Commerce. As a matter of fact, Danielle, I don't know if you recall, years ago, we, a bunch of us from the Chamber of Commerce, we all went to dinner at Mother Anna's in the North End.
I do remember that.
Well, not too many other people do. No, for a lot of reasons. But I've served on the library trustees a couple of years ago, and it was interesting. There was working with everybody. It was a pretty good relationship, and we got some things done, and looking to help out some more. I'm filling in for the expired term of Cora Leonardi because Cora moved out of town. So there were only 2 years left on her term, and here I am. Thanks.
Well, and I apologize both to you, Jack, and Carol, the fact that I forgot that you were up for re-election because it was so natural. So congratulations.
Oh,
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes, as you say, that those throngs, that vicious fight that you had.
Well, and listen, I just want to bring up that the last time when I first ran for election, the Cans were very kind to allow me to use their front lawn for a political sign. My political sign consisted of a business card, said John Ward, trustee, and what they did is they put it on a popsicle stick, planted it on their lawns, and lit it up with flashlights.
Did
Well,
you
it was
see my
all-
lawn this
Janet.
time? Did you see my lawn this time? It's like, I don't care. Anybody put your sign up, put it up.
So Ken, would you like to?
I'm Ken Zeb. I go by Ken Zeb. I worked for 32 years at the VA, and I'm I am an ophthalmic photographer, so I'm a scientific photographer by trade. Mostly since I was 16, so it's been a long time. I'm retired, and I realized this morning that in November, I'm approaching my 10th year already. And
Wow.
yeah, I didn't know, like Carol, Janet said it. You work harder when you're retired, I think.
You do.
Grandchildren that are two, a little over 2 and 1, 9, 10 months. And I travel, I have fun, I work hard. And if you need anybody to get signature, it seems to be I'm your guy. In other words,
Mhm.
when you run for trustee's position. So, I'm the guy next door that just helps anybody out. That probably the greatest thing I've ever done in my life is I gave 25 gallons of blood. I donated in my lifetime.
Oh,
And he
Yeah.
does Walk for Hunger and
Walk for Hunger. Yeah, I was brought up by a mother that we had a volunteer, and I lost her, and I do volunteering through her. In other words, through my family, as continuing. However, I must tell you, nobody in my family related does any volunteer work, which is just. I'm hoping that they will as they get older. But I did scouting, I did everything. So.
great, good.
they will.
Yeah.
And Liz, would you like to give a brief bio?
I have been working here in Rockland for about 2.5 years. I became director in November when Beverly Brown retired. She was here for a long time and was kind enough to mentor me. Before here, I worked in Hanover at the public library. And before that, I worked at Massasoit College in Brockton. So I've been in the OCLN network for about 10 years altogether.
Great.
I think that's it. Thank you.
Well, as I said, Danielle, I think there's great depth of our resources of trustees' experience here. So don't hesitate to ask. And also, if you have any questions, to go to Liz to explain anything. So we'll move on to the board reorganization, which means some people, as Ken was saying, are going to have to volunteer and step up to fill some positions at this point. We have the position of, all the positions are open at the current time. And currently Janet has been the secretary and Ken has been our treasurer, and I'm currently serving as vice chair. So we can open the floor for motions to nominate people for, we will start, I think, with the secretary position first. So
Thanks.
we're-
So we can't do one motion for a slate of officers? Can we
Well,
do that or not?
that absolutely is a possibility, Janet, if we wanted to put together a slate of officers and decide on who will be if people will be staying within their current roles, if people will be moving into other roles. But we definitely need a trustee the trustees to move into these roles at this particular time. And with Pat's leaving, definitely is the chairperson. So
I don't mind being
You-
secretary for one more year, but that will be it. So
would you,
unless anyone else wants to do it, you're welcome. Please don't think I'm territorial in that area.
well, is there anyone who would like to offer a slate of officers?
Oh,
Or shall we could do it individually?
want me to do that? Well, actually, I did call Carol because I wanted to be sure it was okay for me to nominate her for chair and not trap her, but it's a natural thing. She's vice chair, and that would be my proposal. My proposal would be Ken for treasurer with his experience. We need a vice chair, though.
We
So
do.
it could be Jack.
need a
I don't know
vice
if
chair.
Danielle, we want to do that right away, but it could be Jack or Carol.
I would like to say that I am not really interested in holding an office right now.
Understood.
Because I've been out of work so long. When I go back to work in September, depending on how things go, I just feel like when I go back to work, I might feel overwhelmed with getting
Yeah.
back into a different lifestyle. I would be more than happy to take a position next year when the reorganization comes up, but I wouldn't accept anything right now.
Carol,
I-
the treasurer's, you can have the treasurer's job next year, no problem.
Yeah, I understand we all have to do our part. This is just a weird year for me after being home and
Good,
dealing
understood.
with Jimmy and,
Understood.
well, so a year from now, ask me again and I'll accept whatever needs to be done.
Well, we
Well,
could
and I think
suggest
in all
Jack-
fairness to Danielle, it would be pretty soon for her to assume a responsibility on the board at this point till she becomes more acclimated
Yeah.
to the whole
Hey,
system.
you weren't here. They stuck me with treasurer the minute I got to the table.
That's how
But it's
I was.
okay.
I think 2 months into my term, I was secretary with
Jack-
my last go around.
Pat Foley got it the same way.
Yeah. Jack, will you be vice chair? There's no one left, Jack. Well, this
Oh,
is being recorded. Sorry, folks.
pick the short straw? Oh, sure. Yeah, I mean, for the time being, sure. What, excuse me. What, why don't we just, can I make a motion to appoint Carol Mahoney as chairman?
So we're gonna do it individually.
Yeah,
Yeah, well, okay, we can do it individually.
I second it.
Okay, wait a
Okay,
minute.
we have a-
I gotta redo my stuff. We have to do a roll call for each one.
Yes. Well, we have a motion on the floor from Jack, seconded by Ken, that I become the chairperson.
Oh.
All those in favor, Carol Cahill,
Yes,
Jack,
yes.
Ken,
Yes,
Janet,
Yes,
I will abstain on this one.
and did
So,
you vote on this?
yes,
Okay.
so that was the vote on that. So hearing no other nominations from the floor, I'll close them, and it appears that I am the chairperson of the Board of Trustees.
Congratulations.
Congrats.
thank you.
So we'll move to the vice chair. Are there nominations from the floor to fill this position?
And
Ken,
Yeah.
who are you nominating?
Oh, Jack.
Okay, Jack Ward is nominated. Any
Second.
other further
oh,
nominations?
sorry.
Close the nominations. Jack Ward has been nominated to be the vice chair of the trustees. We'll
We
do
did
the
a
poll.
second, right? Janet, were you seconding?
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm sorry. Did I not?
Sorry, just
Make
making.
that
No,
clear.
I didn't ask for a second, so should have done that. So Carol Cahill. A vote.
yes,
Janet,
Yes.
Jack Ward,
Abstain.
Are you abstaining or voting? What is proper?
No,
Voting for yourself? Okay, good. My father told me always to do that if I wanted to win.
and I think I need a point of order here as far as Danielle's voting on this time.
she can vote.
What? Oh,
Yeah, I
I mean, she can't vote on anything in the past.
right,
anything-
exactly, but she can. So
but
that's
she's
my
with us-
mistake.
She's with us within our group
Yeah.
right now,
So,
so she should
yeah,
have a
so-
valid vote.
Danielle,
Yes.
okay. So from the vote, it appeared, Carol
Right.
Mahoney, yes.
And me.
I'll
Yeah.
get used to this after a while. And yeah, we've got everybody.
No, you didn't ask me. You
Ken,
asked me, yes.
okay. All right, Liz, are we all set on that one on the vote?
Yes. Do you want to, I don't know if it's too late. Can we go back and do we have Danielle vote on the last one or?
Yeah.
Yes, we can go back. We're going to go back on the vote on the chairperson.
Yes.
Okay, and we'll do a roll call vote. So we'll do Carol Cahill for Carol Mahoney for the chairperson of the Board of Trustees. Carol Cahill,
yes,
Janet Khan,
yes.
Zeb,
Yes.
Jack,
Yes,
Danielle.
Yes.
So Carol Mahoney has been
Okay, thank you. Sorry, just being very
Yes,
careful.
no, that's okay.
We want to include her in everything. Okay.
Yes, exactly. So the next position is treasurer. Do we have any nominations from the floor?
I nominate Ken.
Second,
Second. Any other nominations?
Before I accept, does Liz want me?
Yes.
I'll accept.
Was that
Thank
Jack
you
that
very-
seconded that? I'm sorry. Was that Jack that seconded that?
Yes.
yes.
Yes, okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right, so Janet? For
Yes.
Ken for treasurer? Carol
Yes,
Cahill?
Yes.
Danielle?
Yes.
Jack?
Yes,
Carol Mahoney? Yes. So Ken, thank you very much for continuing your service as treasurer. It's,
By the way.
so the next position is secretary. I'd like to nominate Janet Can for
Second.
this position. Any other nominations? No. Okay, the vote. I vote yes. Ken,
Yes,
Jack,
yes,
Danielle,
Yes.
Carol Cahill,
Yes.
Janet, do you wish to vote for yourself?
sure.
Okay, all right.
Want to lose.
Janet is now serving as secretary. So thank you all for taking this on as officers and trustees of the library. I'm sure this year is going to be as interesting as last year's from the point of view that we will be reopening probably at some point in time.
Hope
So yeah, so I'm sure working with the staff, there'll be a lot of new and interesting things that will be going on as we move forward. So as a result of the changes, we do need another trustee to sign on to be a signature designated for the town warrants and the payrolls. So Pat was serving in that position and I backed her up on it. So I now have been signing the payrolls and the warrants on Tuesdays at the library with no problem. And frankly, I don't believe I was ever called upon while Pat was serving. So it's, easy for me to get up there, but it would be nice. We do need a second signature.
you need a second.
Yes. So is there someone who'd like to volunteer who believes? Liz, can you tell when it's, everybody else when it's usually on a Tuesday?
Yes,
Right.
warrants usually get signed on Tuesday. I think the deadline is Wednesday. And then payroll, technically the deadline is Monday, but we usually get it signed on Friday if we can.
I can volunteer for that if it's just going up to give signatures.
That's all that it is,
And
Carol.
it's on a regular schedule, even when I go back to school, it's something I can just plan into my,
Right.
Yeah.
And they can also, now that we're open, the documents can be left downstairs, so you can just drop in and sign and
yes,
just say that I'm here to sign. Oh,
Yep.
great.
I
Thank you
can
very
do
much.
that.
That's
When you
great.
pick up your take and make, Carol.
Well, I'm up there at least once a week anyway, sometimes twice if
I
I have a
know.
book to pick up. So I'll
Yeah.
just try and kill two birds with one stone if I can.
Oh, great.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah,
Thank you.
and will be in case I, happen to be on one of those cruises that will never happen again in my life. But
You never know.
You never know.
I keep saying that, but
so, all right, on to the next item is the trustee contact list.
Oh, yes, sorry, go ahead.
That's okay. Liz would like to update this list, so she needs everyone to, Liz, would you like everybody to email you with the their email and then their phone numbers?
Sure, that would be great. I think we have most of them, but you can let me know if there's been any changes or if we had a landline that you don't use anymore, you can let us know and we'll get rid of that number.
And addresses. We
Yeah.
need
Yes,
addresses as well.
Addresses, yeah,
thank you.
yes.
And
Hold
Liz,
on, I got-
information?
Sorry.
You have my information,
I
right?
gotta get it.
Yes, yep, I got yours, so I'm
Great.
all set. Thank
Thank
you.
We also, we also need, since we're doing all of the paperwork and it was beginning of the year, I am the person when the building gets called in the morning, I'm the first contact. The second contact is Pat Foley, the third is Cora, and the fourth is Beverly.
Ah.
This needs to be updated.
It has been updated since
Now,
then.
I can say I'll do it, or Jack will do it, and me and Jack will be first, second if you want, I'm sure. But this is the key, you know, the codes. If the police call, the fire, or we got, something happens at the library.
That code isn't on camera, please.
Huh?
Make sure the code isn't on camera, please.
Okay. And I have a code. Anyway, so that's what I have. And I just feel it needs to be updated on, because
Absolutely.
It
Yeah.
has been updated since then. There is a more recent version, but it does still have Pat on it, so we need someone to replace her.
yes,
Is off already though.
and I need a new, a new sheet that if there's any changes or any number. And we had 4 people. Obviously, Liz, you're the 4th person, but we had 2.
I'd be willing to be first.
Oh, all right. I mean,
Oh.
that's fine.
Yay.
But you're going to be away sometimes, and things,
Yes, maybe someday.
Well,
Well-
Ken, are you willing to continue? And Jack, could you continue? And I don't mind being the 4th person, but as I've already told Liz, if there was anybody who could mess up the alarm system at all the libraries that I previously worked, it was me. I just seem to have not a good way with codes in buildings. So I don't mind being 4th, but the last time I did it with Cora, it didn't go well.
I have no problem. I currently do not have a key
Okay,
How
or
you
a
get it
code.
by being on this list.
Okay.
all right. So
that was my point. This just really needs to be updated.
Yep, there is a more recent one than that, but once we nail this down, I will make a current one and send it to the alarm company.
Okay, great. Thank you, Liz. All right. The next item is that Liz sent out some documents that were part of the Board of Library Commissioners Library Trustee Handbook. And so she has that there, a report card and job description. Nobody really has to make out their report card, but I think it's an interesting document to review and think about anyway. And going forward, it might be something that, every year we do an evaluation of the director. It might be good for us to try to think about what our roles are and evaluate how we're doing and what has gone on in the past year. But the other thing that Liz has sent for is the trustee pocket guide that I have right there that we all received. Excuse me. And she's getting copies for everybody from the Board of Library Commissioners. So when she receives them, we'll get that. So Danielle, it really is an excellent resource on the whole idea of a trustee and trustee responsibilities. The Board of Library Commissioners, which I'm sure Liz will also be signing you up for their emails, is the state agency that's responsible for libraries in the state. And they do an excellent job training trustees. They have some trustee trainings coming up online soon, multiple ones. And also with the workshops that they do, from strategic planning to buildings and all sorts of other ones that they have available. So you'll probably be seeing a number of correspondence from the Board of Library Commissioners coming through. So it's a great resource, and they do a great job advocating for libraries through the state budget. So.
Thank you. I think I already got something from Liz. Thank you.
Mhm. Okay, so on to the next item of business, which is our reports. So Liz, would you like to give your director's report?
Sure. So you'll notice on here that circulation is down only 1.3% from this month last year, which at first I thought was very exciting, but then I remembered that this month last year was the first month of the pandemic, so that makes sense. But things are getting closer to normal. Ebook usage was a little low last month, or 2 months ago, but it was back up last month, which is good. Museum passes are picking up as more museums are open and taking library passes. Are there any questions on this top section?
Nope.
Okay. The Take and Make crafts continue, virtual story times, online book groups, all continuing. You may have noticed that there were no building issues last month, which I didn't really believe at first.
I know, really.
Don't worry, we've had plenty this month so far. Quickly, I'll write them out in detail next month, but well, I can talk about them actually on the building project section of the agenda. We had some water inside the children's room on Friday when it rained very heavily, which has happened before. It's one area of the room got fixed and now it's happening on another side. I have asked the building inspector to come by and take a look and advise me on whether the wall needs to be opened to see if there's any damage inside. See what he says when we can get him to stop by. Let's see. Curbside pickup continues to be used, and now that we're open, and I'll report on this in more detail, we opened on April 5th for in-building browsing, but it seemed to start slowly. I thought I was answering the phones at the desk the first week, and I was offering the option to come inside to people, and most people did not seem to be taking it, but most people do seem to be taking it now. I was looking, and yesterday we had 38 people come to the building in total, and 25 of them came inside, so more than half, which is encouraging. Are there any questions? We're still doing online meetings. There were no deposits last month. Any questions on anything on here?
Liz, is there any, I know you go to the town department head meetings, planning for possible reopenings?
Of other buildings, do you mean?
The other buildings in the general kind of the whole town that is gonna kind of get back to normal.
Town hall is open. The senior center is probably the only one that's not totally back to normal, I guess. They are doing programs with small numbers of people. So hopefully maybe by this summer, I guess, most of their population should be vaccinated. So I hope that they'll be able to open soon, but they'll probably be the last ones in town, I guess, is what they've thought all along. But they're getting there.
Are you still,
Sorry.
of course, waiting for the state, also the state standards that are in place?
Yes, and level that we're at now is where most of the libraries in the area are open for part of the week at limited capacity. But everyone seems to be hoping that in the fall we'll be able to relax all those restrictions.
And as far as the books and holding the books for the period of time, you know, it was for a long period of time. And I know some libraries have brought them down as far as how many days they're being held. Is that continuing to change?
Yes, we started at 72 hours. All the OCLN libraries kind of agreed to start there. And libraries have been slowly decreasing it. We're at 48 hours right now, and I think it's safe for us to go to 24 soon. So we'll probably do that in the next couple of weeks.
Did you
that
say
also-
40 or 4?
24, we're at
20.
48 now.
Oops,
We
okay.
go to 24. That helps our workflow a lot too, shortening that. So that will be helpful for us.
Liz, you're talking about the amount of time the material has to be quarantined once it's returned?
Yes.
I
so-
just wanted to clarify in case Danielle didn't understand
Yeah.
that.
Oh, yes, thanks. Yeah, the scientific consensus seems to be that surface contamination from surfaces is not the biggest risk. It's the person-to-person contact.
And Liz, how is delivery going and how are they handling the quarantine and that whole aspect?
They don't do any quarantine there. It all happens in the libraries, and it
All the
actually
libraries.
really quarantining really disrupts them because of the bins aren't going back to them. They're sitting in libraries for longer. So it really helps them to shorten, if libraries shorten the quarantine.
Is the delivery schedule the same or has it changed? I'm sure that probably has changed.
It had changed. We are usually the last library on our route. So we used to get our delivery in the afternoon. When a lot of libraries were closed, it switched to the morning. I think now we might be first. And right now we are still getting it in the morning. I wonder if ultimately we'll move back to the afternoon. But right now we're still getting it early in the morning.
Okay, good. Any other questions for Liz? Okay, Liz, still you are.
Okay, moving on to the financial report. This is, I'm showing you all the months here, so that makes all the numbers smaller. I apologize about that. I hope you can read it. Are there any questions?
Yeah, we have spent 64.31% of our budget, correct?
Yes,
Until September.
Oh,
until
July.
July.
Oh, July, okay. Well, we're doing good.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, all right, good.
I have some,
2/3, you got a third left, okay.
yeah, I have some reimbursements to put in for stuff that I've paid for, but it won't make a big difference.
You mentioned, Liz, some issues within the building this month. Would they adversely impact anything within the budget?
Yes, but I'm not sure when, if it will be this year. One of the issues is related to the sewer drain problems that we've been having. Do you want me to cover it now, or do you want to wait until the building
I think
project?
the building projects, that would be fine. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, right now I don't know whether work will take place this year or if we'll have to wait till at least next year.
Okay. All right. Any questions for Liz? Okay, we'll move on to the treasurer and the trustees fund. Ken?
Okay, the beginning balance for the ending balance from March was $122,549.79. We made $41.54 in interest earned in March at the rate of 0.399. March funds, we have $122,591.33, and our available funds, we have $6,024.66. I just need to ask one question because I haven't seen the expense in the whole year. Liz, are we still getting the Herald and the Boston Globe, or has it been suspended because of the situation we're in right now?
We did not renew some of the newspapers when they came up for renewal because some of them came up like during last year when there was no one in the building, and it didn't seem to make sense to keep paying for them when no one could read them. We are still getting the Mariner and the Enterprise.
Yep.
So
my point is that we're only making $40 a month in interest, but we haven't lost $1,000 a year or close to $1,500 a year for the Herald and the Globe. So I didn't know whether or not we were going back to it as the library goes, and then that will have our increase. But that's all I wanted to mention to them.
yeah, I was thinking that when we reopened, we would resubscribe those papers, but let me know if you think otherwise.
No, that's fine. My point is that from the beginning of July 1 of last year until today, there's been no distribution for those two expenses, up to about $1,500. So therefore we have $6,000 available in our funds. So
Ken, could you briefly give Danielle a little background on these funds and why we have $6,000 available?
when you open the treasurer's report, the first one will tell you the bottom line of how much money we have. The second sheet with all the names on there, those are additional funds or trusts that we have that we govern. However, we We don't go into the assets of that, only what's left over, which is the $6,000. So we have like 100 and we have $116,566.67 in those funds. You'll see it on page 2. And then we have available for expenditure, $6,024.66, bringing us to basically $122,592 total. But $116,500 of it is not, it's available if the trustees make it available, or there are certain trusts that we can use, but most of them are pretty set forward.
Have that?
Thank you. I work for a nonprofit preschool, so that is very
Sorry.
familiar to me.
Okay.
Sorry.
That's that's okay. All right, thank you, Ken.
Welcome.
All right, the next one, Liz, is the review of the schedules of the bills payable.
Yep.
Any comments?
Just to
Yes,
explain this document, it's a summary of all the payments, all the bills that we've paid this month, the date when they got paid, and the warrant that they got submitted on. Are there any questions on this one? Okay.
No. Next item is the 2022 library budget and town meeting, which is scheduled for Monday, May 3rd. Yeah, I have the right date.
Yep.
Liz, you have a note on it, update if available. Is there an update available?
I have the page from the warrant here. I can share my screen. Maybe I'll try. Let's see. Can everybody see this document?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay, so the line in yellow is the staff line. This is the only place where there's a difference between the FY21 budget and what we requested for FY22. And the difference is because we have a number of union staff who are due step raises next year. And they don't have a contract for next year yet. So we had to calculate their projected increases using the rates that expire at the end of this year. So this number is kind of a placeholder. We know there will be a difference, but we're not sure exactly what it will be yet because we don't know the new rates yet. But this was the only difference you could see in these two columns. Everything else is the same from what we got last year and what we requested for next year. Does that make sense? Are there any questions?
I noticed you went to a finance committee meeting, so have they, obviously they approved this, or it's already approved for town meeting pending the salaries, correct?
Yes,
By
yes,
the finance committee,
yes, just needs to be voted at town meeting, but yes.
okay.
And then there's another page. I'll try to show you. Do you see this other page
Yes.
here? Okay. So Doug has built in this line that's highlighted in yellow. He set aside this amount to cover the increases for next year because we don't know the exact amounts. So negotiations on contracts are going on right now. And I don't think they'll be finished until after town meeting. So this is like a placeholder, and the money for the increases will come from this line and then be transferred to the individual departments to cover them. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. So that is all we know so far until town meeting.
And on network membership, perhaps you might speak about that for Danielle to understand what, how we resolved an issue with the town on that.
Yep.
Or
So
discussion. We had discussions with the town about, not an issue.
Yes, we pay like a membership fee to belong to the Old Colony Library Network. And that is how we borrow and lend to other libraries in the area. So it's a very essential cost. That's what keeps us going. Our assessment is generally around $20,000 a year. And that used to be a line in our budget. Does it still? I'm just looking at the financial report and seeing if I still have that line at the bottom. Well, I think I cut it off of this view. There's a line down at the very bottom that says the network fee used to be a line here and it's not anymore. The town in the last couple of years has taken it out of the budget. So we don't get that money appropriated anymore. And we pay it out of state aid grants that we get from the state every year. So that makes a big difference for us. And we were hoping to try to get it back in the budget, but this is not the year to do it. So we'll try another year. Just because it's a really essential expense for us. And if we couldn't pay it, we'd be in trouble.
It's our biggest, it's really the expense that I mean, we need that. We need the Old Colony, you know,
Yep.
and the 20, I mean, it's very, very important.
Yeah, the way we operate would be a
Yeah,
lot
it
different.
would stop without it.
Yeah,
Well, it's usually within the libraries, it's the backbone of the library at this point, where the catalog was the center point 50 years ago, not even 50 years ago now. The networks are absolutely the backbone for the operation of the library in all different ways. So.
yeah, we're kind of unique or different from other town departments, I think, because of the extent to which we work with our counterparts in other towns really directly and closely. I don't think people in other town departments do that as much.
And the state aid this year from the board, the state aid comes from the Board of Library Commissioners. And Liz has to fill out these very tedious reports every year. And last year was her first time doing it, but you get used to them. But the state aid has come through the state has made their commitment and fulfilled their commitments to the libraries. So that's great too. That wasn't reduced. Okay, any questions? Any other comments? All right. Well, Liz, we'll move on to the building projects and any of the other situations.
Okay, the first project listed is the window project, and I just got an update today. The windows themselves are being delivered here next Wednesday, which is good because that's a day that we're not open to the public. They will work on the children's room first, and I'm hoping that they can do it completely on Wednesday and Thursday. Danielle, I should explain. The old part of the building still has the original windows from 1903 in it. So some of them are rotting out. And so we're getting them replaced right now with Community Preservation Act money, which is great and we really appreciate it. But it's a big project and it's been in the works for like years and it's finally happening now, which is really exciting.
We're all excited.
So those windows are in the children's room and then in this office here, and then the archive local history room, and then the young adult room, the old front part of the building on Union Street. So I'm hoping that the children's room can get done on Wednesday and Thursday when the room is not open to the public next week. And then the other rooms, we can be more flexible on what days they get done because the upper floor of the building is not open right now. Any questions on that? Okay. The next issue is the drain clogs. Trying to remember what had happened last month and what I told you. We had a clog, which was cleared, and then the sewer department came back, like a planned visit, came with a company that like scopes out the drains with cameras. So they did that, and I think they found a blockage there. It hadn't backed up yet, so there's a chronic issue. So they came back another day and did some digging out in front of the building. They were planning to put a clean out outside of the building so that future clogs could be cleared out from outside. They wouldn't have to come in to do it. It turned out that that is not possible because there are so many lines of different types in the ground in that area, gas lines and phone lines and everything. So for now, the sewer department has advised us to close the children's room, patron bathroom, the small one with the diaper changing station. So we'll have to figure out what to do about that. Right now, that bathroom we're keeping locked anyway, but when patrons are in the building for longer amounts of time, we'll have to have a changing station somewhere. I need to meet again with the sewer department and somebody from town hall to talk in more detail about how long we might have to put this off or how big of a job it would be to replumb that bathroom and when we might be able to take it on. I'm not sure yet. Any questions?
Yes.
Yeah,
Age-old issue.
I'm curious, are diapers going down this?
I don't think they're finding like things. They don't know what's they're not finding things that are clogging. I think it's just
Russ,
like the quality of the inside of the pipes
yeah, Russ.
are not allowing stuff to pass through.
You know, it's a suggestion or just a thought. The public restrooms on the main floor, men's room, women's room, the Formica countertops in there where the sinks are in bad shape.
Exactly.
They've got to be replaced. I'm wondering if you can incorporate lengthening those to, you know, to include a changing station in both the men's room and the women's room.
Yeah, that's what, if we're not able to keep that small bathroom, I think we would need to put a station in each of those because right now we have one, but it's in a gender neutral bathroom. And
Right.
so if we lose that, then we would need a changing station in both the men's room and the women's room.
'Cause I don't think, you know, expense-wise, those countertops would be very expensive, and we do have funds that we could access if we needed to.
Yep.
That's
Yes.
the thought.
When I meet with someone about this, we'll consider all like how many things we can roll in together at the same time.
Liz, when they're talking about certainly the pipes, I'm sure the age of the pipes is having the impact also.
Yep.
But then is it that there's also the intricacy of the pipes that are around the building that may be causing some of the issues? Are their locations?
Sounds like mostly age, I think.
Age, yeah.
All right,
You're
And
talking,
age, Carol, and you can't dig around it because of gas, like
right.
gas and all the other
Right.
stuff. So
Yes.
that's the problem.
you've
Yep.
got cast iron pipes from the early 1900s,
Mhm.
you know, all through this place.
Let's see. It's typical of an older building on
Right.
what you run into.
Yep.
Okay, any other questions on the drain clogs? But, okay, Liz, the workroom reconstruction?
The only update I think since last month is that I now have quote that includes all the furniture pieces that we've been looking at in the room, and altogether that's about $15,000. So once we can figure out the construction part, and once we know about the free cash situation after town meeting, we'll know more.
Are you still working with the town administrator on that, the financing?
Yes, I think he's really busy right now with contract negotiations and everything, but I'll definitely check in with him on this after town meeting. Danielle, if you don't know, the room upstairs where the staff like does behind the scenes work on books, had a flood in it about almost 4 years ago. A sink clogged and flooded the whole room. So we're trying to get it put back together and at the same time upgrade some of the furniture in there and add some storage and just make it as efficient as possible.
Danielle, it's right behind the circulation desk.
Can I ask a question? I'm not familiar with the layout of that at all, and every time we talk about it, I just can't even get a picture of it. If I were to come to the library one day, Liz, would you give me a little tour?
Yes, definitely.
Just so I can have a better, I mean, I'm familiar with the parts of the building that I go to as a patron, but it's hard for me to visualize even the work we're talking about because I've never really seen that, so.
Sure. Yeah,
Great.
I'm actually gonna need everybody, I'll send you an email, but I'll need everybody to come up and sign the new signature authority sheet. So if anyone would like to come in and look at anything when they come for that, please let me know.
Good. I would like that. Thank you.
Liz, I also think that we do need to regroup because we have been talking about this project and there's been various prices and what we're going to do and everything else. And I know Doug has been very good in wanting to assist us in this whole process, but I think we have to regroup ourselves as to what the intent is and what is the work that we want to be able to get done there. And it is the staff area. It's amazing. It's such a small area for the work that they get done in there. Absolutely amazing. But I think before the next meeting, we could also maybe regroup so that at the next meeting, we have kind of the idea of what's going to go forward. And it'll be after town meeting. So, and no, I don't want to put any demand on Doug and what have you idea, but at least if we have an idea of costs and what we see, anticipate, and maybe, and we might do this or what have you, that would be good.
Yep.
I have a question on the, let me fill in Danielle. Danielle, last meeting, we had a discussion about taking the conference room downstairs and putting either portable walls up to create another space to like, am I right, everybody? And so I don't know, and I'm asking Liz now. Liz, where are we on that?
Oh, let me show you.
Okay, thank you.
I forgot.
Yeah.
Perfect timing. I forgot to show this. I'm going to share my screen again.
So you'll understand, Danielle, what we need a storage room, or we need just control more of the library internally.
And right now,
Oh,
oh, sorry.
no, it's okay. I lose my minutes when you're, okay.
Oh,
Go ahead.
Right now, because of the layout of the building, because you can only access the top floor by one stairway and narrow doorway, and it doesn't seem safe to have people passing each other in both directions on those stairs right now. We can't do one-way traffic. That's why right now only the children's room and the meeting room on the first floor are open. We've brought stuff down from the second floor into the meeting room for people to browse in there. And this is what it looks like if you haven't seen it. Here's the station where the staff person sits and patrons check out books. It's all plexiglassed in. Here are
Are
the
you able to make the pictures bigger?
yes. Is that better?
It's okay.
So this is where the staff person sits and people bring their books out to check out. It's all enclosed with plexiglass. Here are the patron computers. There's two down there, and they're as far apart as we can get them. There's a printer in the middle, so people can sit here and use these computers for 20 minutes and print documents and make copies here.
You've all worked so hard to do all this with a lot of flexibility, Liz. Thanks to you, and please thank the staff, because
Oh, sure.
it's
Yes.
a
And I
lot of
think-
heavy duty physical work here.
And to Ken's point, Ken, the divider that's there, you should really go in and see it, really does allow them to divide the room, but also to conceal whatever we may have in a particular area, while another area can be used as a work area, a program area. So Liz the wall that she purchased, I was there the day it arrived, really is quite amazing, and I think does a very good job.
Yeah, so here's one
Thank
view. Sorry, was somebody saying something? So here's one view, like if you come in the back door of the meeting room and you're looking towards the projector screen, this is what it looks like. This is one side of the wall. And then, oops. This is the other side. So if you're standing over on the wall where the patron computers are right now, this is how it looks from that side. And this section on the left is a door that swings in and out so we can get to the stuff that's stored inside there.
Yep.
But it's very, you can move it from any section. You can reconfigure it really easily. It's all on wheels. So I
A
think,
divider 2 is the one with the door, correct? Labeled.
yes, this
Yeah.
one right here. And this is the
You
door.
can
on the
see
left.
that. Yeah, though our images haven't gotten bigger, so
Oh, they're not on your
So
screen?
I know
what,
what we
the
are.
first one did, but I
Yeah.
think, I don't know.
Oh,
No, it's still just little thumbnails.
yeah, they're all thumbnails. Yeah, that's why I asked. But
oh, sorry, they're bigger on my screen. I'll email them out to everyone so you
Right.
can expand them.
This is great. Looks like you guys have been able to be so creative and make things work. To be able to have people come in, that's so wonderful to see.
We've tried, thanks.
Well, and the
Yeah,
screen is very functional because you can move it around instead of having it be in a permanent state. Liz can reconfigure it
Right.
how they may need it, given the usage going on within that room. So the flexibility is really great.
thank you for the update.
Liz, any other comments on building projects or issues that this month that you've had, or is that it?
That's it. Can't think of anything else right now.
Good.
Okay,
I can't believe last month you had no issues.
I know, I was shocked as well.
I've been on the board for 9 years. I think I'm the oldest board member now, and I can never remember a month we didn't have an issue.
Well, things zoomed falling apart in April.
well, we'll take it when it comes along.
Yeah.
Don't tell us yet. Surprise us next month.
Oh,
Um,
also, I should have showed you all our beautiful carts. I don't know if you can see this yellow one behind me here. Oops. Probably not, but you'll see them when you come in. Justin, the custodian, repainted all of our little book carts.
Oh, good.
They look great. They were really rough before all their paint was chipping off, but they look really great now and they really improve the look of things.
Good.
Check them out if you come in.
even I was there that day, Justin was outside in a beautiful sunny day doing it, but the initial coating was a beautiful color gray, and I thought that was it. And then it led to actually, they're absolutely vibrant colors that are throughout the whole library. So you can run into a
Good.
nice gold cart some places, or a nice lovely pink one that is certain places. So it
Good.
adds a lot of vibrancy.
Yes, I had a fun time with the selection of colors that are available in industrial spray paint. It was fun.
Please
I've
thank,
got 40 cans of industrial. I love it too.
he did a terrific job. Really.
Yes, and if you drive by us on Union Street, also check out the round planter in front of the building. It's about to bloom. It's filled with tulips, and he planted
Oh.
like 150 bulbs. So
Oh,
it's
wow.
very exciting.
Yeah. I noticed today, was it today, the landscape people were there too.
Oh, yes, they were.
They were there today too, so it just got a fresh haircut too. the
Yes.
bulb, you know.
It should look very nice.
Yeah.
Great. The next item is strategic planning, and we've had this on the agenda before, but I spoke with Liz about a week ago on the idea of sitting down with her and working on a schedule of actually moving forward, since we have some thin light at the end of the tunnel on the library opening up and doing other things. Beginning the strategic planning process, we desperately need to update our strategic plan. We need it in place for the Board of Library Commissioners. we need it in place if we're actually thinking about going forward with some grants that they have. And it would just be the right thing for us to do at this particular time to move ahead with it. Both Liz and I'm not sure if other people maybe have tuned in, but the Board of Library Commissioners had some strategic planning sessions put on by some of their staff, and they were excellent. They really did a tremendous job. Last year, Beverly and Pat had put together a booklet for us of all the information from the Board of Library Commissioners, and Liz will be sending that out to us again, so to familiarize ourselves. But I, had sent out a notice in September about the whole idea about our discussions and moving forward with this, because it definitely does have to be an inclusive strategic plan. And the idea that it's just not the library staff or Liz who write it or the trustees that write it, that we're really going to look to the idea of being inclusive within the town on going forward. Because I definitely see this as a document that we therefore then can go to the town and say, this is the strategic plan for the library for the next 3-5 years, however much we determine. It identifies the roadmap that the library is going to take, that the trustees, the friends, the community have invested in by responding to surveys, participating in surveys, the staff participating in the whole process. So I really do see it as an important document for us moving forward and doing this. So I'll be meeting with Liz again, kind of set up some dates that she sees, given the work that they have, the work that we need to do with this to continue to move forward. But the other thing is, last year when we were going through the director's search, the trustees had gone through an exercise of writing down kind of like what they would like to see, the skill set that a director was bringing to this position. And through the circumstances, we were going through the whole process, and COVID came in and interfered with us, but we knew we had an in-house candidate that Liz became the director and has brought forward a lot of different skills, and certainly through Beverly as her mentor, and also Pat has learned a great deal. But I think in working with Liz also, it's the idea of setting up these are the items that as trustees, we would like to see her invested in moving forward along with the staff. And so I think if we go back and revisit some of those things that all of you that were on the board spoke about, and new people also, the idea of this is what we would like to see as a skill set coming in. This is what we'd like to see for the future of the library. The other day, Liz and I were just talking about, and I know all of you are very familiar with the idea of, digitizing whatever is in that historic room that's been sitting there all these years. How do we go about doing that? How do we get an investment? How do we get buy-in from the town? How do we apply for grants? And finally, how do we just move on some of these things and put realistic timeframes in place, also given the staff that we have, the availability of them to be able to dedicate themselves to this. So it's, I think, an exciting thing for us to go forward with and to start now in planning for the future of the library. So that's my spiel, but Ken?
Part of the strategic planning forward, now that we have the windows in, I believe the windows didn't come with the doors, correct? In other words, you're not having doors installed, front doors in the front of the library.
No.
I would think that would be, now that we have the windows, that would be one of the things that we should possibly add on to our list of things to do to see if we can get money to put brand new doors, or maybe redesign our library in terms of how we're going to use it with the doors, in terms of you come in this way, you leave this way, or vice versa. I don't know, because of you can't. Our problem with the front of the library is we don't have any handicap access in the front. But at the same time, I believe those doors are a few years old and they need to be replaced. And I don't know, Liz, am I right about that?
Yes, just if we were going to make that a usable entrance again, I think there's a lot of other things that would be part of that project too, in addition to just the doors. I think
Yeah.
the stairs.
Yeah, but I was just wondering because with the windows, in other words, you're trying to conserve energy, keep the place warm. And we're doing that with the windows in the old section.
Yep.
And on top of that, the doors go along with that.
Yeah, doors are not part of this, but
I knew that, but that's why I was bringing it back up.
yes. we hope
Because
to
I'd
pass
like
along.
to see them as
Someday.
part of our, one of our things in the next 3 to 5 years that we would get done. Because that'll be an expensive,
But
of taking care of our building.
Can you mention the idea of, and I think within the strategic plan, there is the whole discussion of building projects. And
Well,
look
that's
at
our
that.
job.
Yeah,
That's our
and-
job as the committee is to put forth the building projects to keep the library up. I mean,
But
Daniel,
it's also looking at the library as a whole unit, and the idea of like, is it working? How is it working within the building? And certainly without outside the building, as far as handicapped accessibility being one of them. But if you just take the young adult room definitely needs to reflect a change at some point in time.
you got my vote on that.
And those type of- So I really do see that the
Yeah.
whole idea of looking, to use the term, from a holistic view of the building and going forward. And ultimately, it's always difficult to say to a city or a town that there are some renovations that need to be made here that are not just an individual project. It's really, there's a lot more to it. And we have
I would
options to
I
do
would
that.
think, in my opinion, with the young adult room is that if we could move it or work together with it, I thought that would be a marvelous computer room for a lot more computers for town people to come in and use that area because it's gigantic. It's a large area.
Well,
Is
that brings up the whole point of technology and we have, a Carnegie building. So that has its all historic implications on that. But wiring a building for technology, never mind dealing with the plumbing, the other things that are impacting us at this particular time. And just usage, and then looking at a staff room, the way the staff is currently working. So I think that we'll be able to address a lot of this. And as I said, develop a roadmap and say, this is what we see are priorities
Mhm.
within the library and moving forward. So,
So
Um,
we probably need a good amount of time on the agenda to really share our thoughts once you and Liz get some ideas together, right? Maybe
I also think
more
that
than
at some
15
point we'll
minutes.
probably have a meeting, just a strategic planning
Yeah,
meeting, a workshop, because the consultants are available from the Board of Library Commissioners to come in to help generate those ideas, to motivate people and get us moving and what have. So that probably will happen at some point, along with the staff. The staff are going to be critical also to tell us.
yeah.
But I think if the trustees got together, at another meeting or where we could sit down and generally get the general idea on which directions we're going, that would be. And it's right. Everything's going to take 4 to 5 years to get it done, but we need to get these things done. There's a lot to do there.
Well, hopefully the strategic plan will only take
Right,
us
that's what I'm saying, yeah.
not 4 or 5 years to accomplish it, maybe to implement the goals.
And part of that strategic plan, I believe as the treasurer, I'm promoting that we can spend with our own money too, to move things along. We need to be aggressive. That's my opinion, but I feel
Yeah.
whatever we can do to help out, to move it forward, let's do it. Because we got a great staff. We got, things are working there. I mean,
Right.
so a lot going on.
Well, within the whole time frame within the town and how we're going to do things and roll things out, and discussions definitely about how it's going to happen. So that's, we'll be getting back to you by the next meeting, definitely about this. And then I think if we can develop a schedule, then we'll have an idea of what's coming along, because there'll certainly be meetings with the friends, the idea of a survey, what type of a survey, how are we going to distribute that? What's the best way to distribute it? Those type of things will be necessary. And who are the critical people that we want to hear from? An example being like the senior center, the schools, other agencies within the town hall itself. So other groups. So any other questions, comments?
I do, I have one. Are we planning this year through the Friends of having a book sale being in November?
That's the Friends.
Yeah, but my point is do you think that we will be able to use the building?
Well,
No, I mean, that's,
if I
I
may,
can ask the Friends, Janet.
What?
We have to get permission of the building
Well,
first.
I can't even imagine having all those people inside the building, but Carol.
Well,
But I mean, just like I was just in Camden, Maine, and a lot of people were going into the library and they let them in, in other words, a few at a time, like 6 go in, 8 come out. We have that second door and all of that, because eventually if we're going to go back up, in other words, in November, or are we skipping this year completely?
well, we may have an alternative to
Okay.
begin. I spoke to Liz last week because there are some libraries who are putting together bags of books and setting a certain price. If you want to buy this bag of book, it's $5. They are put on book trucks outside the front door of the library for the day. They have lock boxes for them. And people come up and they'll take a bag of books that may be sports, it may be fiction, it may be romance novels or things like that. And they are working out as a good alternative to actually going in within a building for a book sale. And it's bringing in some funds for some friends groups. So Liz has a couple of pictures that I took of of a library that has advertising the bag of books idea, and we're finding out the details on how they go about doing it, because it at least helps you get rid of what your inventory is that you have right now before you accept books from anybody. So
Or-
Liz, do you?
Yeah, I think if the friends wanted to do something in the parking lot like they were hoping to do last fall, except we just didn't have a parking lot then because it was being redone. The parking lot is finished now. Well, as soon as it gets striped.
Great
But I
idea.
Yeah, I think that's feasible now if they wanted to do it this spring or in the summer.
That's a great idea, Liz. Thanks. That's why I brought it up. I wanted to see whether, it can continue.
I think
Yeah,
it's,
and especially since there's so much information about outdoor activities being much safer than indoor. I think if
Yeah.
you wanted to try it outdoors, I think that would be great.
okay. Liz, do you want to go on to any of the information in upcoming meetings?
Janet, do I have so the Friends annual meeting and then the regular meeting are both on April 27th, is that right?
Well, I'm just looking at this, and I don't know if you all know that Karen Hafner had hip surgery Monday, and it went fine,
Oh.
by the way, but that was only 2 days ago. And I don't know. I know this meeting's supposed to be posted publicly. I don't think it has been. I don't think it was me that was supposed to, but it could have been. But I don't know if Karen will be able to. Knowing her, she'll be in her kitchen sitting doing the meeting. But let me check with her. But that is when it's supposed to be. Let's put it that way. And I don't know how far ahead it has to be posted. I can find that out. I'll text her after we finish, and I'll let you know.
Okay, I think the rules for that are not as strict, I don't think, as the town
No.
meeting.
I mean, I can have it put on WRPS tomorrow, so that's something.
But I don't think the Friends are covered by the open meeting law, are they?
Not that I know of. We don't.
Yeah, so then having
Yeah.
to post. Yeah,
No,
having to
it's not,
post.
no, yeah, but I think, I don't know, I guess it's in the bylaws for the Friends that it has to be
Yeah.
posted. Do you know that? Because
Okay.
I'll find out.
Are there any other questions or comments for this meeting? So, well, thank you to everyone who has stepped up to assume a role of the officers of the trustees. And we begin another year. And Danielle, and thank you for, as we said, running for office, and Carol and Jack for returning again. And I look forward to the upcoming year. And I know it's going to be a lot better than last year was. It's, the hope is there.
Can I just ask, Danielle, did you say you have a 7:30 meeting after this every Wednesday, or?
I do. I have a work meeting, our board meeting on also the third Wednesday that starts at 7:30.
Could we meet at 5:45 to give Danielle a little breathing room? Would anyone be willing to do that?
Oh, my God. That would
We
be,
wanted to stay. Because that's a lot for you to do with your board. I mean, I know you're the director, so I wouldn't mind doing that.
why you want to do it at 5:30?
5:30, yes, why
No,
not?
let's
do it?
do it at
That work
5:30.
for you, Danielle?
That's totally fine for me. Right now, my meetings for our board, my work board are still Zoom, but we will be back in person hopefully soon too. But yeah, that would be super
Does that
helpful.
work for Liz? Liz, can you be ready at 5? Okay, then we're fine.
And Carol Cahill, does that work for you?
I can make it work.
Oh, well,
Okay.
if you can't, Carol.
No,
then-
no, I can. It's just cooking dinner and cleaning up and stuff. I can. I can do it.
Tell Jim it's his
You
cooking.
want
No, it's fine.
Jack, does it work for you?
Shouldn't be a problem.
Yeah, shouldn't be working.
Can
Um,
you hear me all right?
Yeah,
Yes.
Sort of, yeah.
Liz, do we need a motion for that? Because it's not within the bylaws as far as the
No, I don't think so.
No, you
Yeah.
just post it.
post it.
posted.
Once she
Okay.
posts it.
Okay, so can I have a motion to adjourn?
I
Okay,
move.
second,
I'll second.
Carol Cahill, second. Okay, so we'll do a roll call. Janet,
Yes.
Carol Cahill,
Yes.
Jack Ward,
Yes.
Daniel Biggins,
Yes.
Carol Mahoney, yes. We are adjourned at 7:25
And
PM.
Ken Zabzinski,
They
yes.
said,
Okay, I'm
she's
sorry.
thrown under the bus.
You've done that like 4 times.
Have more
to me
work to
tonight.
do. Yeah.
I'm avoiding your last name, that's
Well,
why.
I guess, Zed, 3 letters.
No, today I was practicing actually trying to say it.
It's Beshesky. Try, yeah, you will never make it.
Yeah. Whoa.
No.
I got 2 Z's.
All
Yeah,
right.
you're definitely. Okay, well, thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.
Before you go,